Hello!
Well, hello, Forrest.
Well, hello, Seamus.
Happy Wednesday.
Happy Wednesday!
So what's going on in Forest Land this week?
Forest Land this week. It is nose to the grindstone, lots and lots of hard work because our Fae Folk and Otherworldly Beings collection is coming out at Nui Cobalt Designs. And it's one of my favorites of the entire year because I really dig fairies. And part of that is your fault.
I take the blame.
So during one of the conversations we were having on Pagan Gumbo podcast, Seamus and Michael were discussing beings, including things like fairies, and I had always sort of dismissed the Fae, which now I know is probably a really bad idea, as being a little too silly, a little too out there, a little too fluffy for my, I don't know, my worldview. Well, it turns out they're not fluffy at all. And I learned so much in researching the different beings that are addressed in the Fae Folk and Otherworldly Beings collection. I'll tell you about a couple of them real quick. One of them is called Aziza. And this is a person who is a small person and definitely meets a lot of the criteria of the Western European folk known as Fae or Fairy or the Fair folk. In the Aziza, they are spoken of in the traditions of the former kingdom of Dahomey, which is now Benin and the surrounding territories, also known as Yoruba land. And in the Yoruba tradition, some of the stories speak of the Aziza, or the small magical people who lived in that area and who instructed Papa Legba, who we know now through Santeria and New Orleans voodoo and all kinds of different Yoruba-based traditions. And I learned very recently that the Aziza were the source of that knowledge. The knowledge of magic came from them, so that's super cool. Another collection of beings is from Hawaii, and they are the Menehune. And a very benevolent group of people who engage in magic and have magical power to share or not share, to offer blessings with or not. And in the Hawaiian tradition, if you were a fisherman and you were going out for a catch, the Menehune could help you with that. They could bless you with a great catch and bountiful harvest from the sea. So that was pretty awesome. And then going to the Western European origins of the Fae folk, what we're more familiar with, you have brownies. And brownies are very similar to what you would find described in like the pixies of Cornwall, or the folks who are diminutive and living in the forested areas or in the mountains or even in the waters, the nymphs of the Mediterranean area that were spoken of in Greek and Roman myths. But the brownies live specifically in homes and in an actual domicile, kind of cohabiting with human beings. And so there's this roommate situation going on there, which is pretty cool, and also maybe a little bit problematic, just like with other roommates. Similar to the domovoi of Slavic tradition, if the home is not kept up in a certain way, if you engage in slovenly practices and your home is messy, then they might cause problems for you. They may play tricks on you. And one thing that's really common that a lot of people have heard about is brownies or house spirits stealing things, actually borrowing them, hiding them, making them less available to you, as playing a trick on you, or maybe as teaching you a lesson. So here's what I do. Every time I feel like something has gone missing and maybe it's being held hostage by some otherworldly being who is sharing space with me, I give them 50 cents. I have a little offering bowl in a little space that I keep set aside for them, and I pay them 50 cents, like a ransom. I don't know, this came to me just in random thoughts one day. It's, you go with it, you try it out, you see. It has never not worked. Every single time I lose my keys, I lose my astrological date book, the things I always lose. Dig out 2 quarters, put it in the bowl, and I either remember instantly where I left it, or it shows up on my desk where I was looking 5 minutes earlier. It happens every time. So Fae folk and Otherworldly Beings go live at newycobaltdesigns.com this Friday, May 28th at 11:11 Pacific, 2:11 Eastern.
Woot woot!
Woot! Happy Wednesday, you guys.